In the Philippines, more than 800,000 women and children work in the sex trade. Subic Bay, a 4-hour drive from Manila, is a destination for many foreign men. Men who come to buy sex from vulnerable women and children who are desperate to escape poverty. Children like Apple, who lives and works on the streets. She's 16, has a 2-year-old baby, and is pregnant again.
Hindi ko feel magtrabaho doon. Nakakapagod, tapos nakakahiya, yun. Nakakatakot din kasi may customer na kahit gawin mo yung maganda, kahit maging mabait ka, meron talagang nananakit. Kaya pag pumasok ka ng hotel, isang paa mo nakalubog na sa hukay. Marami na namatay doon na babae sa ginagawa ng customer. Kasi delikado talaga. Delikado.
One man has fought for the rights of Filipino children for over 40 years. Father Cullen, an Irish Catholic missionary.
In the modern age, people now have huge disposable income. They can travel from Europe and America and Australia. They can travel anywhere they want in the world at a very low cost. So we see more and more international tourists traveling to Southeast Asia, South America, where there are many, many poor people. And now suddenly hundreds of thousands of men are coming here to buy sex from underage children.
Father Shea opened the Prader Foundation in 1974, which includes this home for over 70 girls. They may look like regular school children, but they've all been rescued from brothels and sex bars, or suffered sexual abuse at the hands of foreigners and Filipino men, some as young as 6. The bars are for their own safety. In the past, armed men and pimps have attempted to kidnap them.
But this is the phenomenon of Jesus, the revolutionary. Children are number one. They're the most vulnerable, the weakest, they're the ones we are challenged to defend, to protect, and to help.
Now 3 former Australian policemen have come to help Father Shea.
My name's Dennis Gray and I've been retired for 13 years. I've never been involved in investigating pedophiles and I'm appalled at what I've been exposed to and what I've seen, and I'm happy to contribute to your joint effort.
My name is David Thompson. I'm also a former federal police officer and an investigator, and I'm very happy to be here, and it gives me an opportunity to try to improve my very limited Tagalog. So, magandang umaga.
Chris.
My name's Chris Payne, and I was a policeman a long time ago. I've been involved in
the 1990s, Chris Payne pioneered Australia's battle against sex slavery. When his sex trafficking operation was shut down, he left the police, but continued his anti-trafficking work. Former colleagues Chris, Dave and Dennis will work with Father Shea to investigate Australian men who come to the Philippines to have sex with children. They'll also go undercover to try and identify underage girls in the bars in the hope of organising a rescue mission.
Within the bars itself, what's the youngest kid you've seen working in a bar?
No, the youngest kid we got out of a bar was 14 years old. Although we got much younger on the streets.
I'm getting the impression that that might be where some of them graduate from the streets into the bars.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, okay, 20% of the children that we rescue from the bars, they've been sexually abused either in the home or by some pedophile in the community. Yeah. And they get so shattered and so hopeless, nobody will help them. They get so depressed that they're easily recruited then by the pimps.
A child can't make an informed decision to have sexual relationships with a 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old man. They don't make that decision as an informed choice. And if you don't make an informed choice to have sex with someone, that's rape.
That night, Chris, Dave and Dennis pose as tourists to go undercover into Subic Bay's sex bars.
We've been following two strands in this investigation. One is the bar scene. In this area there's a lot of bars where women work, you buy them drinks and you can take them away. It's called bar finding them and have sex with them. And some of those bars also employ underage children. Underage here is under 18 to work in a bar. But some bars will try and employ girls as young as 13 or 14. They'll do so with willful blindness, and so do the police. Some of them, I'm told, are deceptively recruited, so that's internal or domestic trafficking. They think they're going to come here and work as the usual nannies or housekeepers or waitresses and find themselves in the girly bars.
But the men find it tough to gather evidence. The girls have all been trained to say they're 18, and the mama sons and bar owners give nothing away. Michelle was underage when she once worked in Subic Bay's sex bars. But before that, aged just 14, she lived with a 37-year-old Australian, Marcos Gonzalo. In 2010, Gonzalo was arrested and charged with child sexual abuse.
Ayaw mong sabihin?
Gonzalo was released on bail and disappeared, despite a court order stopping him from leaving the country. He may be hiding out in the Philippines, or he may have fled illegally. Dave takes a victim statement from Michelle, hoping to find out, and to establish a prima facie case against Gonzalo.
How did you meet Mark and how did you come to be in a relationship?
Tapos pinakilala siya sa akin ni ate ko. Ayoko sana sumama sa kanya. Sabi ni mama ko, tsaka ni Mirasol, sama na lang daw kami sa isang kwarto. Sabi natatakot ako niya, ma'am. Tapos yun, ginalaw niya ako nun, tapos birginan niya po.
I want to show you some picture. Can you tell me if you know that man?
Marcos.
Where is that picture taken? Do you know?
Sa kwarto niya sa baseball. Pinakulong niya ako sa kwarto. Hindi niya ako pinapalabas.
Mark used to lock you in the room, is that correct? Did he tell her what would happen if she did get out?
Patay niya ako, wow. Ayaw niya akong pag may mga lalaki, ayaw niya akong may kasama doon. Kahit nandiyan yung kaibigan ko, ayaw niya. Gusto niya, isa ko lang. Ganyan. Kasi pagkasama niya ako, may iyak ako lang. So, ginawa niya sa akin.
I don't know how anyone can do what they did to someone who's so frail, and she's, 2 years older now than she was at the time she was a victim.
What struck me was when I spoke to her, she was a small girl, and I was quite surprised that she was actually 16 now. How a middle-aged man of almost 40 could form that relationship is something that you could never really understand.
Well, the issues were paramount to me coming, and I'd never really thought about it. My career was all drugs and organised crime. But the 10 days that I've been here and what I've seen and what I've been told, it really is appalling what dirty old men and not so old men do to young girls. It really breaks your heart.
Michelle's elder sister, Marisol, informed police that Gonzalo was holding Michelle against her will. Gonzalo's social media page then prompted the investigation that led to his arrest, providing graphic evidence of his relationship with her.
During our surveillance, we ascertained that the room occupied by Marcus was in the second floor.
Yes.
One of my colleagues forced the door open. Michelle and Mark Gonzalo were inside. We asked him what Michelle was doing there. And Mark told us that Michelle was his wife. He intended to marry her. We told him that it's impossible,
So what's the current status of the charge against Mark?
It's archived because Marcus cannot be found.
So it's still pending?
Pending.
If he's still in the Philippines and you find him, you'd arrest him?
We arrest him. Let's hope that he'll come back.
Yeah.
The trail is 2 years old. The only contact we've had is through Michelle, having contact with him via Facebook. Now, what he tells her on Facebook and the truth of the matter could be, I would say, are probably wide apart. He's made reference to being in Vietnam, being on an island with a typhoon in nearby, being in Australia. He could be anywhere.
Like Michelle, Marisol has also been exploited by foreign men when she worked in Subic Bay's sex bars. She left her job as a dancer a few months ago and now works in the Prada laundry.
Yeah, you're the one to go to the authorities with alerting them to Michelle. Is that correct, diba?
Yes.
Yeah, bakit?
Kasi nga, nagalit ako kay Marcos. Nakuha yung ka-virginan ni Michelle, binayad 10,000. Tapos ang binayad lang mga damit. Ang pangangailangan ni Michelle sa school niya, sinuportahan. Susuportahan niya si Michelle sa pag-aaral. Lahat ng pangangailangan ni Michelle.
Who in your family did Marcos make that promise to?
Nag-promise.
Sila, mama.
I also believe you withdrew your complaint in the court case involving Mr. Marcos.
Makaawa na si mama.
Do you know why your mother asked you to recant?
Alam mo ba daw bakit pinawi-withdraw ni mama mo yung case? She doesn't know.
How do you know Mr. Mark Gonzalo?
Dun sa kaibigan siya ng dati kong foreigner.
What's the name of your former boyfriend? Who is your former boyfriend?
Torn. Former boyfriend is Torn.
Norway.
Huh?
Norway siya.
From Norway.
Nasuportahan niya ako sa pag-aaral.
Huh?
Nasuportahan niya ako sa
Torn Northway was one of the many foreigners that patronised Boyd's Bar, above which Marcos Gonzalo lived. Marisol alleges that Torn sexually abused her from the ages of 11 till 16. He was a close friend of Marcos Gonzalo's and introduced him to Michelle, Marisol's sister. When Michelle was rescued from Gonzalo, she was put into Prada's care. She now lives back home, but is kept an eye on by Marlene, a Prada social worker, who was herself once rescued as a child by Father Shay. Dave and Chris have come to gather more evidence from Michelle. They know her mother knew Gonzalo well, but decide not to question her at this time. They start by examining the gifts Gonzalo gave to Michelle.
These two are Australian. Right. I can see that's an Australian compliance thing. Can you confirm that these are the clothes and that this is the bag that he brought for you from Australia? Michelle, these are the original letters, the original ones that Marcos wrote to you? Salamat, Michelle.
Most incriminating is a collection of explicit love letters Gonzalo sent Michelle from prison before he was bailed and disappeared.
If these letters had been written in an Australian prison to a witness in an Australian jurisdiction, that some form of offence for trying to interfere or intimidate the witness would be liable for that. There's constant reference to the fact that he's almost begging her to withdraw her affidavit so that she and he can go free and resume the relationship that they've been in. There's nothing in those letters to suggest where he would currently be or where he has been in Australia, where he lived, his past life. There's just nothing of that nature.
He doesn't leave too many clues, does he? As to his background, right?
That's worrying because it would indicate to me that he's not just a middle-aged man who's stupidly fallen in love with a young girl. He's a serious abuser.
Marisol led the police to Gonzalo. She now wants to help the Australian investigators rescue other young girls.
We're heading to the township of Subic, taking Marisol there. She's going to show us some things up there. She used to work, poor young thing, in two bars there, the Miami Bar and the Crow Bar. Apparently are both houses of ill repute and allegedly employ underage girls.
Miami shelter. Alam mo ba kung may nagtatrabaho sa Miami? Na minor?
Oo.
Paano mo sila nakilala?
Dati kung yun, kasaman sa barkada ko dati yun.
Those minor who are working in Miami.
Hazel Lea. Tapos nakalimutan ko yung pangalan. Nasa 16 yun.
Hazel is 16 years old.
Lea.
Magsi-16.
What was the salary? How much did you got paid by, what, drinks?
Magkano daw yung sweldo mo?
100.
Her salary in Miami is 100 pesos.
A day?
A day daw yun.
That evening, the men head to the Crow Bar. They want to identify the underage girls named by Marisol in the hope of a later raid and rescue mission. Their strategy is to elicit information about the girls and the bar owner from its mama-san. They soon spot Princess and Jen, who are both aged 15, and discover that the owner is an American called Arthur Benjamin, who recently bought the bar and renamed it after his girlfriend, Avila, who the mama-san says is only 14. In the Miami bar across the road, the men again pose as tourists and find all the girls working there are underage, some as young as 13.
In Miami, we saw two young girls, and they were clearly no older than 13, I would say. They were prepubescent. A guy turned up who we were told later was a colonel in the Philippine National Police. He walked right past the girls, as a matter of fact, and he was there with the owner and a solicitor, and no idea what that was about. But these bars are operating openly in a country where it's illegal for anyone under 18 to work in them, and in a country where prostitution is illegal. We spoke to Marisol and she told us about certain women who were working in the girls in the Miami bar and another bar. And then we went to those bars.
Great.
Acquired some photographs of those people.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, these are the photos of the suspected minors, right?
Yes.
These kids, these are really underage children. Look at that. There's no raid on these clubs, and if these children are not rescued, then I'm sorry to tell you that for sure there's corruption at the highest level.
Yeah.
Okay? We know it.
Father Shea has been nominated 3 times for the Nobel Peace Prize, but his controversial work has angered many, including corrupt police and politicians who profit from the sex trade. He's been threatened by pimps and brothel owners and has survived a shooting whilst protesting for child rights. Undeterred by threats and assassination attempts, and with new evidence of underage girls working in the bars, Father Shea and Dennis head to Manila to meet with the Ministry of Justice and the National Bureau of Investigation, hoping to organise a raid. But when they get there, there's a hitch. They're told they'll need an affidavit from Marisol and Michelle, who also knows some of the minors, before any raid can proceed. Father Shea wants to ensure that the raid is a success. So he recruits another expert to plan a sting on the 2 bars.
Hello, John. Very welcome.
Hey,
Good
Father
to see
Shea.
you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a long journey to get here.
Great.
It's been like, 5 years since I sent you the email saying that...
John Curtis, a former Australian Special Forces officer, is the founder of Grey Man, an organisation that rescues children from the sex trade in Asia.
I was just watching my young daughter sleep, and this voice just came into my head and said, there are children her age being abused in Southeast Asia. And I took that as a sign, and I decided to go up to Southeast Asia and carry through on the sort of promise I made to myself. Before I left, I promised my daughter that I would rescue 5 children for her, and I think that's where it all started.
Has she ever seen this door open?
Nakita mo ba daw na minsan itong bukas?
Oo, pag tanghali lang.
This door is open.
John works with Marisol to plan the sting on the 2 target bars.
Only in noon.
Sa baba.
Saan?
Diba? May hagdanan kasi yan paikot yung hagdanan niya, papunta pa exit. Meron naman ditong short time room.
Whilst John is setting up the sting, the other investigators head to Boyd's bar, which Gonzalo lived above with Michelle. They want to corroborate Michelle's victim statement so they can build a case against Gonzalo to present to the Australian Federal Police. Under Australia's child sex tourism laws, if convicted, Gonzalo could face a maximum 25-year jail sentence.
The NBI na.
Michelle describes the night of her rescue and Gonzalo's arrest.
Natulog pa kasi ako nun
Tapos?
Tapos yun, nagising ako. Tapos sabi niya na si Mark, nakapo sa snack.
Were you sleeping with Mark that night?
Tulog kasama si Mark. Yes, she slept with Mark at that night.
Okay. Can we go inside? Where's our caretaker?
I think it's
Okay.
Ito daw ba yung padlock na kaya hindi ka nakakalabas? Oo. Yes, she said.
Why did you tell the NBI to come here to raid this place?
Nilalak nga. Nag-text sa akin yung kapatid ko na nilalak nga daw siya doon.
When you got the text, did you tell your mother?
Alam naman ni mama ko.
She said that her mother know everything.
But later on, she retracted her
Statement.
complaint and her statement to Rowling.
Ano yun, nagmakaawa sa akin si mama ko. Kasi nga madadamay si mama ko.
When you lived here, how did you feel?
Nung nakatira ka daw dito, anong nararamdaman mo?
Malungkot.
It's okay to give her a hug. She needs.
What was Michelle's parents or her mother, her father? What was their attitude when you told them of what had happened?
They were angry
At who?
at us and the elder sister, Mira,
Why were they angry with you?
because they told us that we're meddling with their affairs,
Who said that?
the mother. And then even while at And the NBI, the mother was kept calling Michelle and the elder sister, telling them to go home, not to pursue the case anymore, because because Mark loves you and he will marry you, like that.
That is the mother of Michelle.
Hello, mabuti.
Ano pangalan mo?
Cristeta.
Dave decides it's time to interview Michelle's mother.
I understand that the NBI arrested Marcos Gonzalo and put him into the prison because of a complaint made by you.
Okay. She cannot remember anymore.
And the complaint was about Marcos having sexual relations with Michelle.
Pinirmahan ko yun? Wala akong pinirmahan yun.
Nagutang ako doon sa NBI. Alam ko yun.
She cannot remember anymore what documents she signed, but instead Michelle remembered her mother signed the documents.
There was also, I believe, a second document where she recanted the first document. Can you tell me anything about that? The NBI allegation is that you sold Michelle to Marcos for money.
Alam niyo po ba yun?
Hindi ko naman yung anak binibenta.
She said that
People need to survive in this country. The safety nets that exist in Australia just aren't there. So when families need food, they become desperate. They're easy pickings for people who don't have money to sort of entice them to come into these situations. They see foreigners, they think they're rich, and there's a way of making money from them.
Police surveillance established that Gonzalo lived above Boyd's bar with Michelle. But when arrested, he denied having sex with her. The bar closed down soon after the raid. But when open, it was not a sex bar but a drinking club, popular with many foreign men who often brought their young Filipino girlfriends. Its owner, Boyd Smith, came to Subic Bay from Australia a few years before. The investigators have discovered Boyd's current address from the bar's landlord.
With the motor?
With the motor.
Yes.
They hope Boyd Smith can tell them where Gonzalo is hiding.
Is this his house?
Yes. Now she's living there.
Oh, gusto sana namin makausap si Boyd.
About po.
Good, thanks. My name's Chris Payne. We're following up on some of the events that occurred in Boyd's bar 2 years ago. We're particularly interested in finding Gonzalo.
Yeah, I'd love to get him too, yeah.
Yeah. Why's that?
He owes me lots of money too.
The young victim was a girl called Michelle.
Victim, yeah, that's a loose word.
So was Marcos staying there with the girl?
No, it was, we were actually, he was up there alone, yeah. The thing is, it's just...
Dennis is my name, by the way.
Yeah, Dennis Boyd.
How you doing, bud?
Yeah. Bit bag of nerves at the moment.
Mate, can we get out of the sun?
Sure.
Do you mind if we just under the shade?
Yeah. I don't know if you have a drink, but it's
Can we enter?
Yeah.
Safe to enter? You're not going to bite me leg off. Well,
Thank you for that.
we're going upstairs, away from the dogs.
All right. Angela, come on.
So what do you say about the police allegation they made against you that you knew what was happening?
They didn't care about Mark and what he'd done.
Yeah, they did allege that you knew that Michelle was underage and that she was staying with Gonzalo.
Pardon?
They did allege that you knew that Michelle was underage and she was having a relationship
She was my nanny's daughter.
Yeah.
And she was at the place all the time.
And they also allege that you knew she was in a relationship with Gonzalo.
No. Who said that?
That's what the police alleged.
On the morning that the NBI came to Boyd's bar, it was, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Or 5 or something.
And they came sort of through the door instead of opening it.
Oh, yeah.
That morning, like, I heard something weird going on. And I hear something bang, big bang. The big window is they break it. So like, shit, and then Mark, I heard like, screaming, like said, Boyd, like that.
And Michelle and Mark were found upstairs?
Yeah. What?
In the same room?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's what I
time
heard,
Mark drunk.
In the same room?
They're not naked.
They were naked?
No.
They weren't naked?
They're not naked.
I don't know.
They'd had
But-
time to put their clothes on, eh?
No, because Mark is really drunk that night. Because we are all drinking that night.
Boyd's wife, Jen, suddenly provides the investigators with a breakthrough.
After the release from the jail, Mark stayed with you for 1 week.
Mark stayed with us because no one's gonna stay. So until Mark go back to Australia.
Paano mo nalamang bumalik si Mark sa Australia?
Hinatid namin siya sa airport.
Jen also gives the investigators a copy of a passport belonging to Marcos Gonzalo. It is now clear how, after skipping bail, he was able to defy the court order put in place to stop him leaving the country. His real name is Michael James Hackett.
When the police charged, he was charged in the name of Gonzalo. Did the police ask you for passports or anything? Did they?
No, they don't care. They just wanted to. I don't know.
So they just took his word for what his name was?
Yeah. They didn't even. I don't know.
If Gonzalo were arrested in Australia for the same offence, simply releasing a foreigner on bail and just taking his say-so as to his identity would be unheard of. And I can't understand why that happened here.
Detective Bessara is informed about Gonzalo's true identity. He gives Father Shea a computer hard drive seized from an associate of Gonzalo's who was also arrested. He hopes it will hold clues to Gonzalo's whereabouts in Australia. Chris examines the drive but finds nothing about Gonzalo, alias Hackett, as it predates his arrival in the Philippines. What he does find are many photos and videos of girls and young women, filmed by foreign men and stored by Hackett's friend on the hard drive.
At some stage, he's acquired this very large collection of some pretty serious child pornography. We didn't actually look at it, but we looked at the folder titles and the file titles. There were downloads, you can tell that by the file name. And names like, Grandpa does the job on 9-year-old schoolgirls, stuff like that. So that's a problem for him, possessing that sort of thing. Well, it would be under Australian law. I don't know what the Filipino law is on child pornography.
While the search for Hackett continues, John Curtis pushes ahead with the sting operation on the 2 bars. He wants to make sure that the underage girls are there on the night of the raid, so that they can be rescued. He meets the owner of the Crowbar, Arthur Benjamin, and tells him he's organising a bucks party for a friend called Nick, who's actually part of the film crew. Hoping for Arthur's arrest on the night, John invites him to join them and insists the young girls be at the party. Nick's Bucks night will then move to the Miami bar across the road.
These rooms are short-time rooms. I've just hired one to get them used to our presence, also to get a look at what's up here and get an idea of the layout of the place for when the operation takes place. The mama son's hoping to organise this party for us because there's a fair bit of money involved in it. So she's been quite friendly.
Nick is getting married.
Wow, Nick, where's your girlfriend, your fiancée?
Well, she didn't come here because we're having a party.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
She's back overseas.
Okay, everything's there. They have a toilet, they have a bar, they have also a videoke bar, and we have also music.
And the girls?
And the girls also.
It's nice though, I like it up here.
Same girls from downstairs?
Yes.
And can you...
Young girl.
Young girls?
They're dancing naked.
How young are the young girls?
So what do you think? This is nice?
When we pressed her on the ages, she was very coy about it and wouldn't commit herself in terms of ages, but we're hoping that there will be a number of underage girls there.
And you can dance naked, you can do sex here if you want. We can close the door. We can have a fuck party also here. Then fuck all night long.
I suppose the only risk is that there's a tip-off. We get here and there's no one here. If you let too many people know what's going on, eventually there's a leak and then the girls are all gone.
Sabi mo na in-identify mo yung si Venus. Ito si Venus, di ba?
The National Police still need affidavits before the raids can go ahead. Michelle writes one, confirming the identities of the underage girls she knows are working in the Crow and Miami bars.
Hello, JM.
But it's her sister Marisol's affidavit that's critical, as she once worked at the two bars alongside the girls she has identified as minors. But Marisol is now missing. And Marlene, helped by Michelle and Apple, cannot find her.
Hello?
We really need Mirasol now. Because if we're going to bring the statement of Michelle to the NPI, it is not enough. It would not suffice. Mirasol is our key person here. And I believe that she felt threatened now, especially that she knows that what she's going to do now is to rescue some children and to put all the owners of these bars here in Olongapo and Subic into jail. So that is the fear of Mirasol now.
The next day, the search continues. Michelle takes Marlene to Marisol's boyfriend's house.
She's here. On the street.
Mahal niyo talaga ako. Hanap niyo ako. We love you. That's why we're looking for you.
Okay. So ito, gagamitin ngayon natin ito. Isasubmit natin bukas sa NBI at panunumpaan natin yon, no? Na totoo nga na merong mga nagtatrabaho mga minority edad doon ng pagre-rescue doon sa mga batang ito.
Ikaw pang tagaligtas nila.
Ang tagapagligtas, Angel de la Guardia.
Ang lagay.
No?
Okay, mark that as Exhibit A. Okay?
Anong pangalan?
Samahan.
Anong pangalan niya?
Tricia.
Ito.
Princess.
Ito si Princess. Ilan taon si Princess?
15. Mag-15.
When was the last time you went to Manila?
Long time.
Long time ago? Well, tomorrow, you're going to present the affidavits for the search warrant. The search warrant will allow us to search everywhere and to rescue the underage girls. You've been a big help. You've been really good. Thank you. You and Michelle and April.
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 Me? June? July, August.
Oh, now you're telling jokes.
And I can tell you that this is the hardest job and unpaid job in the whole world that anyone.
The sting for the night of the raid is now in place. But the National Police may still take weeks to examine the affidavits and approve the operation. And John now needs to head home.
Yeah, I'm fatigued after 3 weeks.
You're worn out 3 weeks? Oh my God, you tried for 30 years.
Perhaps it's a never-ending battle. In spite of our efforts, trafficking is increasing in the world. People sometimes say, what are you doing? You know, how can you help this situation? If you give a child another chance, then they have the potential to become anything. Father Shea at Prater, he's rescued many, many children. All of those children have a potential for a better life. Now, you can't tell me that that's not a good thing.
Okay, we're on to the NBI. This is Attorney Pascual, who hopefully will arrange this rescue of the children. Hello, Attorney. Good morning.
Affidavits in hand, Dennis and Father Shea head to the National Bureau of Investigation, along with Marisol, Michelle and Apple, who've all helped formally identify young girls. Father Shea has decided to deal with the Manila office, 4 hours away, as he believes the Subic Bay branch is corrupt and would tip off the bar owners in advance of any raid.
we're developing a case operation plan. We also have to coordinate with our regional office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where? In San Fernando?
It's the office
No,
in
no, no.
NBI.
I'm sorry. No way. Please. That guy used to work for me, and he went to the dark side. Every case they got falls through. We wanted at this level where there's total security, and we're not going to end up with a story of failure and corruption. This will be the national spotlight of hope for women and children, this office.
Of course, we want Father Shea to do this right. And
not one conviction of a foreigner for trafficking in the whole Philippines for the last 10, 15 years.
Finally, the girls' affidavits are formally sworn.
Even now, kasi kami puso ko iyong alipin. Kailan ako'y sa'yo.
These girls have just been robbed of a childhood. You know, they're not surrounded by pimps, prostitutes and whatever. They're being treated decently, and it's nice to see the transformation. Michelle was only 14 at the time when she was abused. She's a gorgeous kid, but she's got to be given the opportunity to turn her life around. She's got to be given an opportunity that perhaps she's not been given to date.
The next day, with the raid now set in place, Dennis feels it's time to present a file on Marcos Gonzalo to the Australian Federal Police.
I don't think we should try and imitate what the AFP do, because quite frankly they're going to pick up any deficiencies straight away. I think we just look at it in a way that makes it comprehensible, tells the story in a succinct way, like we're only briefing them. It's their job to go out and do the investigation. It's their job to go out and dot the I's and cross the T's.
The Australian Federal Police has offices in 35 locations around the world, including Manila. They collect intelligence on transnational crimes, such as terrorism, and on Australian child sex offenders overseas.
So we're in a situation where we do need to see you to pass on this briefing paper, for you to forward it to Canberra, given my knowledge of how... No, I'm not. No, I'm telling you how I understand the situation. I'm certainly not suggesting... I'm not suggesting what you said, telling you how to do your job. Yep. No, I've got no intention of inflicting an injury on you or ambushing you in any way. My intentions are totally honourable, and you ask me a question and I'll give you an answer. Okay. Bye-bye. Well, that was a fucking total waste of time, that. She is paranoid to blazes. She wants to speak to her people in Canberra before she agrees to anything, and she's going to be waiting for an email from me outlining what it is that we want to do and what we're going to give her.
You don't answer. I really want to have it on the record that we reported this to the Australian Federal Police, and I think they should know about it and give us all the help and cooperation that we need. This is the big issue everywhere, and they seem not to be very interested. And that bothers me a lot. I think they should be, number one, calling us back within 5 minutes to assure us of their help and support. So there's a lot that we have to get doing. They're not answering. I mean, it's ridiculous. No, they should have a hotline.
This is an ops order for the raid on... It's going to be conducted tonight at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
It's the day of the raid. To make up numbers for the Bucks party, Dennis has recruited several of the volunteers from Prada.
In the unlikely event that things turn nasty, drop to the floor. It's very rarely that anybody who's laying prone on the floor gets hurt. just drop to the floor and take the girls with you?
Well, we hopefully even the NBI will arrive in good time.
Father Shea has organised for the National Police from Manila to come to Preda for a briefing. But social workers must also be present for the raid to go ahead.
We don't have any social workers. Without any government social workers, you can't move. We cannot do it. It's illegal.
It's now 4 p.m. and the police and social workers are already 1 hour late.
So it'll be a little miracle if it works out and we do succeed tonight. You can see it's already 1 hour. We're almost 1 hour late.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be at the bar in 40 minutes, 50 minutes.
Well, that's it. You can't hit the bar yet. No, we'll have to delay a little. No answer. No, I just can't get any connection to the social workers, who are supposed to come here from the government office to rescue the children. We're not sure if they're going to show up anyway now. But we just have to be patient and let's hope it's going to work. Anybody on board? Are they all here?
Father Shea decides that Nick and his guests need to leave for the Bucks party, hoping that the social workers will turn up.
No, this is the DSWD, the social worker director. Yes, hello. Okay. Well, the NBI they're a bit late, but they're on the way here. You mean to say your social workers did not proceed here to Preda? No. Well, where are they now, please? Oh, God. Okay. We'll wait for them. Thank you, Lina. God bless. Okay.
The raid is in trouble as the crowbar shuts at 10 p.m. Finally, 4 hours late, the police arrive, followed by the social workers.
Welcome, Dennis. Good to see you. Thank you. I hope we have this conversation.
The police bring dentists who will confirm the ages of the girls in the bars. American agents from Homeland Security will also be part of the raid. They're responsible for investigating crimes against children by American nationals overseas. The owner of the crowbar, Arthur Benjamin, is American, and if found to be trafficking minors, he may face a life sentence in the United States.
The first target, I believe Team 1, is going to be involved at the crowbar, also known as the Avila bar. So as someone pointed out earlier, it's very important that we hit both bars at the exact same time to make sure these girls and other individuals don't go running in a lot of different directions. We want to maximize the victims that we rescue. We've got to be fluid and fast.
The Bucks party arrives an hour later than planned, still not knowing if the raid will proceed.
Alright, so we are in the bar, we are waiting for the crew to come, and it is gonna get messy.
But despite promising to be there, Arthur Benjamin, the bar owner, is nowhere to be seen. The undercover team at the Miami bar discovers that none of the underage girls identified earlier are there. They're told they've been moved to a new bar, and the girls tonight all seem to be of legal age.
Yeah, you better go, then close the bar and you won't even get inside.
At the 11th hour, the team leaves Preda and the raid gets underway.
Holy crap, I heard my name.
Yeah.
Arthur Benjamin finally turns up. He has Avila, his alleged 14-year-old girlfriend, with him. Unaware the raid is imminent, the tension builds for the undercover team as the party suddenly gets wilder. And the pressure is increasing for them to pay the girls for sex.
Hey, you drink all my beer. She's getting money on me. Who put the money on that? I used to give her 500 pesos at a time just so she'd take it up her ass. So do 100 in pussy, 500 in ass.
You see the sign, crowbar, that's it. Crowbar, that's it. On the left. Stop, go. Get out, go.
Halika rito. Babae, dito muna, girls.
Nothing? It's empty.
Both bars are raided at the same time. At the Miami, none of the girls in the Prater report are found. But the new girls working there want to file charges against the owner of the bar. They've been trafficked from a distant province with the promise of work at a beach resort, not prostitution in a bar. One of the girls is found to be a minor, and the mama-san is arrested on trafficking charges.
Nobody can get out.
I want to see your hands. Sit down. No talking. We'll talk to you soon.
There are no underage girls here, and I have never had sex with an underage girl.
About half an hour ago, you admitted to me that you have regular sex with an underage girl. You're now denying that?
Yep.
Dental examinations prove that some of the girls working here are under 18, including Princess, who was identified earlier.
Yeah, true. You could have got a free dental checkup.
Well, that's what I was looking at.
Huh? Didn't work, did it?
Well, we're happy that we will be able to rescue some of these minors. They shouldn't be here. Yeah, they should be in school. Anything.
So I'm being arrested for what?
Providing child abuse for hiding minors.
There's no minors here.
Okay.
Walang minors here.
There are minors.
Where?
Let's go now.
So there are no minors here. Oh, okay, fine. I'll do it. Yeah, I ain't got no problem with that.
The Crowbar's mama-san is also arrested. The rescued minors and trafficked women are being taken to a local social welfare centre. Arthur Benjamin will be making the long trip to Manila with the NBI.
There's a hearing tomorrow where charges will be laid in the court or in the prosecutor's office. These mama-sans from the Miami bar are sending text messages to Marisol and Michelle about death threats. We're going to do something to get you back for what you've done, you know. So we have to extend more protection now, certainly for Marisol. All set.
Yeah.
You ready for the road? Look terrific. Thank you so much, for all your great work.
With the raid a success, it's now time for Chris and Dave to head home. But there's one thing left for Dennis to do. The Australian Federal Police in Manila have finally agreed to meet. He can now file their case against Michael James Hackett, alias Marcos Gonzalo.
Well, today's the culmination of 3 weeks' work. We've prepared a 12-page report for the AFP that they should be able to use to further any investigations that they conduct. Let's get it over and done with. Let's get this show on the road.
The case against Gonzalo is strong. It's strong here because he's a fugitive. There's already a case against him. There's a brief of evidence. There's a warrant for his arrest. We've got a victim who's giving a statement, and that statement is corroborated wherever it is possible to corroborate it. He has been charged in the Philippines, but he could also be charged in Australia.
One of the delights of growing old is that you never stop learning. And the last 6 weeks I've learned quite a few things. I've seen the difference between good and evil. I've seen the difference between competence and incompetence starkly illustrated. I've seen a man on a mission who is enormously frustrated because the system, which is supposed to work, doesn't.
Mag-goodbye ka kay Dennis. Ayaw mo mag-goodbye kay Dennis? Aalis na si Dennis, oh. Ha? Ba't ayaw mo mag-goodbye?
What's wrong, Marisa?
she doesn't like to say goodbye to you.
I've been practicing for 3 days. Okay? Mal kita tulad nung isang arak.
Naiintindihan mo? She understands.
Intende? Look after yourself. Okay. I gotta go home now.
After Dennis left, the threats against Marisol continued. She's since gone into hiding. The Australian Federal Police has now located Michael Hackett in Queensland, but will not pursue him for any crimes.